there's a quiet thought that keeps visiting your mind. It usually shows up late at night or early in the morning. The thought says that somehow, everyone else is ahead of you. You don't always know what ahead means. Ahead in life, ahead in success, ahead in clarity. You just know it feels like you're lagging behind an invisible line. You scroll through social media and see people your age achieving things. Graduating, building careers, starting businesses, finding relationships. Each image adds a little more weight to your chest. Stay till the end. This might change how you see your own journey. Not by denying this feeling, but by finally explaining where it comes from. Sometimes understanding is the relief you've been waiting for. Feeling behind doesn't start with failure. It starts with comparison. Quiet, constant comparison that slowly reshapes how you see yourself. You begin measuring your life against highlight reels, against milestones that were never meant to be universal. Without realizing it, you adopt timelines that aren't yours. At first, it's subtle. You tell yourself you'll catch up soon. You just need more discipline, more focus, more effort. But the more you try to catch up, the further behind you feel. It's like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. No matter how hard you push, the finish line never comes closer. You start questioning your abilities, your intelligence, your work ethic, your potential. Self-doubt becomes a background noise you can't turn off. People around you might say you're doing fine, that you're young, that you have time. But their words don't fully reach you. Because deep down, it feels like time is slipping. Like everyone else got a head start you somehow missed. That feeling stays with you even on good days. You push yourself harder to compensate. Longer hours, stricter routines, less rest. You think pressure will turn you into the version of yourself you're supposed to be. Instead, pressure makes everything heavier. Tasks feel more draining. Motivation starts fading instead of growing. There's an internal conflict happening. One part of you wants to slow down and breathe. Another part is terrified that slowing down means falling further behind. So you stay stuck in between. Too anxious to rest, too exhausted to move forward. That limbo is where most of the pain lives. You might start calling yourself lazy or undisciplined. You think something must be wrong with you. If others can move faster, why can't you? But feeling behind isn't always about speed. Sometimes it's about direction. And sometimes it's about carrying expectations that were never meant for you. If this feels relatable, hit like or comment I relate. Not to admit defeat, but to acknowledge a shared experience. You're not the only one feeling this way. The hidden reason you feel behind is that you're measuring growth externally. You're judging your life by visible outcomes instead of internal progress. And internal progress is harder to see. You don't see the nights you survived quietly, the fears you faced alone, the growth that didn't come with applause. You've been evolving in ways that don't show up on resumes or social media. Learning resilience, self-awareness, and emotional strength. Those things take time and often go unnoticed. Another reason this feeling grows is the lack of pauses in modern life. You're constantly exposed to other people's achievements. There's no space to process your own journey. Your mind is rarely still. Even during rest, you're consuming content that reminds you of where you should be. That constant input distorts your sense of reality. You start believing everyone else has it figured out, that they're confident, certain, and moving forward without doubt. You forget that uncertainty is universal. Most people don't know what they're doing either. They're just moving while carrying their own fears. But fear isn't something people usually post. You also feel behind because you've changed. Goals that once mattered don't excite you anymore. Paths you were following no longer fit. Outgrowing an old version of yourself can feel like falling behind, especially when you haven't found the next version yet. That in-between space feels empty and uncomfortable. This is where the real misunderstanding happens. Feeling behind isn't always a setback. Sometimes it's a transition. Here's the turning point most people never realize. You don't feel behind because you're failing. You feel behind because you're becoming more aware. Awareness slows you down. It makes you question paths instead of blindly following them. That pause can look like stagnation from the outside. But inside, something important is happening. You're learning what doesn't align anymore. You're shedding timelines that don't belong to you. Growth doesn't always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Stillness where clarity slowly forms. You're not late to life. You're early in understanding yourself. That difference matters more than you think. When you stop racing others, your pace starts making sense. You begin noticing what you actually want, not what you're expected to want. That's where alignment begins. Feeling behind also comes from ignoring how much you've already handled. You've survived things that changed you. Those experiences shaped you in invisible ways. Comparing your progress to someone with a different life, support system, or circumstances is unfair. You're running different races with different starting points. Once you see this, the pressure eases slightly. Not because life gets easier, but because it gets clearer. You stop blaming yourself for things outside your control. You begin focusing on direction instead of speed, on meaning instead of milestones. That shift brings a quiet sense of relief. You realize that being behind is often just being off script, and the script was never written with your name on it anyway. Your journey doesn't need to look impressive. It needs to feel honest. Honest growth lasts longer than rushed success. There will still be days when comparison creeps in, days when you feel uncertain and small. That doesn't erase your progress. Each time you choose understanding over self-criticism, you move forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. Progress isn't always loud. Eventually, you'll look back and realize this phase shaped you deeply. The confusion, the slowness, the questioning, all of it mattered. You're not behind everyone else. You're just on a different timeline, learning different lessons. Those lessons will serve you later. If this video helped you reframe how you see yourself, please like it. Subscribe to Grow with Grace for more calm, honest reflections. And comment below if this feeling of being behind has been weighing on you.